Ladies and gentlemen, the most powerful gift God has given you is your mind. It is the seat of your thoughts, the birthplace of your decisions, and the control center of your destiny. But the greatest battle in life is not fought with weapons, it is fought in the mind. The question is, who is controlling yours? If you do not take charge of your own mind, someone else will. Society is designed to shape the way you think. The media tells you what to believe. Social pressure forces you to conform. Fear makes you doubt yourself. And if you are not careful, you will wake up one day realizing that your entire life has been dictated by the expectations of others. Listen carefully. Your mind is the only place where God has given you absolute authority. No one else has the right to determine what you think, how you see yourself, or what you believe about your potential. That power belongs to you alone. The Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. In other words, your life is a direct reflection of your thought life. If you think small, you will live small. If you think like a victim, you will remain a prisoner of your circumstances. But if you think according to the mind of God, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Your mind is the control center of your destiny. Everything you will ever become, everything you will ever achieve, and everything you will ever produce will begin in your mind. If your mind is weak, your life will be weak. If your mind is strong, your life will reflect that strength. That is why the greatest attack on your future is not external, it is internal. The battle is for your thoughts. Because whoever controls your mind controls your life. You must understand that God created you with a mind capable of shaping your reality. He gave you the ability to think, reason, and make decisions. But the danger is that the world around you is constantly fighting to take that power away from you. Society wants to program your thinking. The media wants to dictate your values. Your environment wants to shape your beliefs. And if you are not careful, you will find yourself living a life that is not your own, following a script written by others. Let me tell you something. Your life is not a product of chance. It is a product of choice. And the choices you make begin in your mind. That is why you must guard it fiercely. Do not allow just anything to enter your mind. Protect it as you would protect your most valuable treasure. Because if you let the wrong influences in, they will take control. And once they control your thoughts, they will control your decisions. And once they control your decisions, they will control your destiny. Have you ever wondered why some people, no matter how much potential they have, never rise above mediocrity? It is not because they lack talent. It is not because they lack opportunity. It is because their minds are imprisoned by fear, doubt, and limitations placed on them by others. They have allowed external voices to become louder than their inner vision. They have surrendered the control of their thoughts to opinions, traditions, and negative experiences. And because their mind is weak, their life follows suit. But today, I want to challenge you. Take back control of your mind. It is the only thing in this world that God has given you full authority over. No one has the right to tell you how to think, what to believe, or who you can become. The only one who should shape your mind is the one who created it, God himself. And he has already spoken concerning you. He said you were made in his image. He said you were designed to have dominion. He said you were born to make a difference. But you must choose to believe it. The greatest enemy of your future is not your circumstances. It is the thoughts you allow to dominate your mind. If you think you are a failure, you will behave like one. If you believe you are unworthy, you will never step into greatness. If you see yourself as powerless, you will never take authority. That is why you must protect your mind. You must decide right now that you will not let fear control you. You will not let negativity define you. You will not let other people's opinions limit you, because the moment you do, you have handed over the keys of your life to someone else. Instead, discipline your mind to focus on truth. Surround yourself with wisdom. Fill your thoughts with things that uplift, empower, and strengthen you. Meditate on God's word, because his word will reshape the way you see yourself. His word will remind you of your true identity. His word will give you the confidence to stand firm in who you are. When the world tries to push you into conformity, His word will anchor you in purpose. You are not created to be controlled by the opinions of men. You were not placed on this earth to live by fear. You were designed to lead, to create, to influence, and to fulfill a purpose greater than yourself. But it all begins with what is happening in your mind. So I ask you today, who is controlling your thoughts? Are you living by conviction or by pressure? Are you thinking based on faith or based on fear? Have you taken ownership of your mind or have you surrendered it to the world? Because the truth is this: your mind is too valuable to be left unguarded. It is too powerful to be placed in the hands of others. Take back control and you will take back your destiny. Your mind is the most sacred territory you will ever own. It is the place where your dreams are born, where your vision takes shape, and where your destiny is decided. But the reality is, if you do not take control of your own thoughts, someone else will. The world is filled with voices trying to tell you who you should be, what you should believe, and how you should live. If you are not intentional about guarding your mind, you will find yourself living according to someone else's expectations, following a path that was never meant for you. From the moment you were born, everything around you has been trying to shape your thinking. Your family, your culture, your education, and your experiences have all played a role in forming the way you see the world. But here is the danger. Not everything that has influenced you was meant to empower you. Some ideas, some beliefs, and some influences were designed to limit you, to keep you bound in fear, to make you question your worth, and to make you settle for less than you were created for. You must be careful, because the moment you allow others to dictate how you think, you give them control over your life. You may not realize it, but the battles you are facing today are not just external struggles. They are battles in your mind. The fear that stops you from stepping out, the doubt that tells you you're not good enough, the hesitation that keeps you from pursuing your purpose. These are all signs that somewhere along the way, someone else's words, someone else's opinions, and someone else's mindset have taken residence in your mind. And as long as you allow those voices to dominate your thinking, you will never fully walk in the greatness that was placed inside of you. You have to take back control. You have to recognize that not every voice deserves your attention. Not every opinion should be entertained. Not every idea should take root in your mind. Because the truth is, whoever controls your mind controls your future. And if you are not in control, then that means someone else is driving your life in a direction that may not align with your purpose. Look around you. There are people who never achieve their potential, not because they lack ability, but because they allowed the wrong voices to shape their thinking. They believed what society told them about their limits. They accepted the fear that was passed down to them. They conformed to the expectations of others instead of daring to think differently. And as a result, they lived beneath their potential, trapped in a life they never truly chose. But you don't have to be one of them. You were created with the power to choose what you allow into your mind. You were given the ability to reject thoughts that do not align with your purpose. You have the authority to silence every negative voice and replace it with the truth. You do not have to be a slave to fear. You do not have to be controlled by the opinions of others. You do not have to live according to a mindset that does not serve your destiny. But this requires intentionality. You must train your mind. You must be conscious of what you allow to influence you. You must filter every thought, every idea, and every belief through the lens of truth. If it does not build you, reject it. If it does not empower you, remove it. If it does not align with the vision God has placed inside of you, then it has no place in your mind. The reason so many people struggle in life is because they have never taken ownership of their thoughts. They allow the media to tell them what success looks like. They allow culture to define their identity. They allow fear to dictate their decisions. But you must rise above that. You must develop the discipline to think for yourself. You must have the courage to challenge the ideas that have been placed in your mind. And most importantly, you must align your thinking with the truth of who you were created to be. You were never meant to live a life controlled by others. You were never meant to be a prisoner of other people's opinions. You were created with a mind of your own, and with that mind, you have the power to create your future. But if you do not take control of your thoughts, someone else will. And the moment you surrender control, you surrender your potential. So I challenge you today, examine your mind. Ask yourself, who has been shaping my thoughts? Who has been influencing my beliefs? Have I been living according to truth? Or have I been controlled by the world around me? Because the moment you take control of your thoughts, you take control of your life. And when you take control of your life, nothing and no one can stop you from fulfilling your destiny. Your life is a direct reflection of the thoughts you entertain daily. Everything you do, everything you become, and everything you achieve starts in your mind. If your thoughts are weak, your life will be weak. If your mind is filled with limitations, your actions will reflect those limitations. But if you elevate your thinking, your life will rise to match it. The truth is, you can never live beyond the capacity of your mind. A small mind produces a small life. A defeated mind results in a defeated life. But a mind that is trained to think with vision, faith, and purpose will produce a life that is powerful, impactful, and limitless. This is why you must pay attention to what is shaping your thoughts. Most people do not fail in life because of lack of talent, opportunity, or resources. They fail because of the way they think. They have convinced themselves that they are not good enough. They have accepted the belief that success is only for certain people. They have allowed past experiences to condition them into expecting failure, and because they think this way, their lives reflect it. The Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. This means that your life is a mirror of your mind. If you think like a victim, you will live like a victim. If you believe you are powerless, you will never take action. If you see yourself as ordinary, you will never rise above average. But when you start thinking like a leader, you will begin to walk in authority. When you start seeing yourself as capable, you will begin to act with confidence. When you fill your mind with thoughts of purpose, your life will start moving in the direction of purpose. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant in it will grow. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, and insecurity, that is what your life will produce. But if you plant seeds of confidence, vision, and determination, your life will begin to flourish. The problem with many people is that they allow others to plant weeds in their minds. They listen to negative voices. They entertain self-doubt. They replay past failures. And without realizing it, their minds become a breeding ground for fear and mediocrity. You cannot allow that to happen to you. You must take control of what you allow to grow in your mind. You must be intentional about feeding your thoughts with wisdom, knowledge, and truth. You must expose yourself to ideas that challenge you to grow. You must surround yourself with people who expand your thinking. You must reject anything that seeks to limit you or make you doubt your potential. Have you ever wondered why two people can go through the same situation but come out with completely different results? One person sees failure as the end, while the other sees it as a lesson. One person allows rejection to break them, while the other uses it as motivation. One person complains about obstacles, while the other sees them as opportunities to grow. The difference is not in the circumstances, it is in the way they think. Your future is not determined by where you come from, who you know, or what you have. It is determined by the way you think. Some of the greatest leaders, inventors, and world changers did not start with wealth or privilege. What set them apart was their mindset. They refused to think like victims. They refused to be limited by what was around them. They trained their minds to focus on possibilities instead of problems. And as a result, they shaped the course of history. What about you? What thoughts are shaping your life right now? Are you thinking according to fear or according to faith? Are you dwelling on limitations or are you focused on possibilities? Are you allowing past failures to define your future or are you using them as stepping stones to growth? If you do not like where your life is going, change the way you think. If you want to rise higher, elevate your thoughts. If you want to achieve more, expand your vision. Do not allow small thinking to keep you trapped in a small life. Train your mind to align with the purpose you were created for, because the moment you shift your thinking, your life will begin to shift. And once your life begins to shift, there is no limit to how far you can go. Your mind is the most valuable asset you have, and yet it is also the most vulnerable. Every day, thoughts are being planted in your mind, some by the people around you, some by your environment, and some by your own past experiences. But here is the truth. Not every thought that enters your mind deserves to stay there. If you are not intentional about filtering what you allow into your mind, you will find yourself living a life shaped by negativity, fear, and limitations that were never meant to be yours. Many people do not realize that their greatest struggles are not coming from the outside, but from within. It is not their circumstances that are holding them back. It is the voices they have allowed to take root in their minds. Words of doubt, spoken over them years ago, still influence the way they see themselves today. Fear instilled in them by others still dictates the choices they make. Negative experiences from the past still control how they view their future. And as long as they allow these influences to remain, their lives will reflect them. You must understand that your mind is like a gate. Whatever you allow through that gate will eventually take control. If you allow fear to enter, it will paralyze you. If you allow negativity to take root, it will shape your reality. If you give space to doubt, it will destroy your confidence. But if you guard your mind, if you choose to filter every thought, and if you refuse to let anything negative take control, your life will begin to shift. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that they can entertain negative influences and not be affected. They watch things that fill their minds with fear and wonder why they lack faith. They surround themselves with people who speak defeat and wonder why they struggle to move forward. They allow the opinions of others to shape their self-worth and wonder why they feel inadequate. But the truth is, whatever you allow into your mind will eventually shape your beliefs, and your beliefs will determine your destiny. That is why you must be careful about what you expose yourself to. You cannot listen to just anything. You cannot engage in just any conversation. You cannot allow just anyone to speak into your life. You must protect your mind the same way you protect something valuable. If you had a priceless treasure, you would not leave it unguarded, open for anyone to take. So why do so many people leave their minds unguarded, allowing fear, doubt, and negativity to take over? The voices you listen to will either push you toward your destiny or pull you away from it. The thoughts you entertain will either build your faith or feed your fears. The influences you allow will either strengthen your confidence or weaken it. That is why you must be selective. Just as you are mindful of what you eat, because it affects your body, you must be mindful of what you feed your mind, because it affects your future. Take a moment to think about the voices that have been speaking into your life. Are they voices that encourage you, or do they drain you? Are they voices that challenge you to grow, or do they make you doubt yourself? Are they voices that align with your purpose, or do they distract you from it? If you find that you have been surrounded by the wrong influences, it is time to make a change. You cannot afford to let anything or anyone plant thoughts in your mind that do not serve your destiny. But guarding your mind is not just about removing the wrong influences. It is also about feeding it with the right ones. Surround yourself with wisdom. Listen to voices that uplift, challenge, and inspire you. Read books that expand your thinking. Meditate on words of truth that remind you of who you are. Fill your mind with thoughts that build you up rather than tear you down, because at the end of the day, your mind is the birthplace of your future. If you do not take control of what enters it, someone else will. And if you allow the wrong things to take root, they will shape a life that does not reflect your true potential. So I challenge you today, be intentional about what you allow into your mind. Be disciplined in filtering out negativity. Be committed to surrounding yourself with wisdom, because when you take control of your mind, you take control of your future. And once you take control of your future, nothing will be able to stop you from fulfilling the purpose for which you were created. Your mind was designed to be a place of strength, wisdom, and clarity. It was created to operate at a high level, shaping your life according to purpose and destiny. But a mind that is not trained, a mind that is left unguarded, will be influenced by everything around it. If you do not intentionally train your mind to align with truth, it will automatically conform to whatever the world presents to it. That is why so many people live far below their potential, not because they lack ability, but because their minds have been conditioned by fear, doubt, and limitations. You must understand that your mind is like a field. Whatever you plant in it will grow. If you plant seeds of wisdom, faith, and purpose, your life will reflect those things. But if you allow negativity, distractions, and lies to take root, they will shape your reality. And the problem is, most people do not take control of their mental environment. They allow whatever thoughts come their way to settle. They let past failures define them. They let other people's opinions control them. They let circumstances determine how they see themselves. And before they know it, their entire life is being driven by thoughts that were never meant to be there. That is why you must train your mind. You must take responsibility for the thoughts you entertain. You must be intentional about aligning your thinking with truth. Because the reality is, your mind will not automatically work in your favor. You have to train it to do so. Just as an untrained body becomes weak, an untrained mind becomes vulnerable. Just as an undisciplined person drifts through life, an undisciplined mind will wander into negativity. If you do not control what you think, the world will do it for you. One of the greatest strategies of those who succeed in life is that they train their minds to focus on the right things. They do not allow distractions to consume them. They do not dwell on fear. They do not entertain self-doubt. Instead, they program their minds to think according to truth. They discipline their thoughts to align with wisdom. They choose to focus on possibilities instead of problems. And because they have trained their minds, their lives move in the direction of purpose. The key to mental discipline is consistency. You cannot expect to change your mindset overnight. Just as a muscle grows through regular exercise, your mind becomes stronger through intentional practice. If you want to overcome fear, you must train yourself to focus on faith. If you want to break free from limitations, you must train yourself to think beyond your current situation. If you want to develop confidence, you must train yourself to reject self-doubt. It is a process, but the more you do it, the stronger your mind becomes. And this is not just about removing negative thoughts. It is also about feeding your mind with the right things. What are you reading? What are you listening to? Who are you surrounding yourself with? If you constantly consume fear, your mind will be filled with anxiety. If you constantly listen to negativity, your thoughts will be shaped by doubt. But if you expose yourself to wisdom, if you feed your mind with truth, if you surround yourself with voices that build you up, your mind will become a fortress of strength. The reason many people struggle is that they are careless with what they allow into their minds. They spend hours consuming things that weaken their spirit. They engage in conversations that drain their confidence. They listen to voices that plant fear and uncertainty. And then they wonder why they feel stuck. But the truth is, your life is simply following the direction of your thoughts. If you want to change your life, start by changing what you allow into your mind. Some people wait for motivation to come before they change their mindset. But the reality is, you must train your mind even when you do not feel like it. Champions do not wait for the right mood to practice. They train whether they feel like it or not. In the same way, you must discipline your mind to think according to truth, even when your emotions tell you otherwise. You must declare victory over your life even when circumstances look impossible. You must choose faith over fear even when doubt tries to creep in. This is the mindset that separates leaders from followers. This is the discipline that elevates ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. This is the secret that empowers individuals to rise above their circumstances and walk in their full potential. Your mind is your greatest weapon, but only if you train it to work for you. You must take control. You must align your thoughts with wisdom, with purpose, with truth, because once your mind is trained to think at a higher level, your life will rise to match it. And when that happens, nothing will be able to stop you from fulfilling your destiny. Your mind is the control center of your life. Every decision you make, every action you take, and every direction you move in begins with a thought. If your mind is aligned with truth, your life will reflect strength, confidence, and purpose. But if your mind is controlled by outside influences, by fear, by negativity, by other people's opinions, then your life will reflect uncertainty, frustration, and limitation. This is why mastering your mind is not an option. It is a necessity. You were never designed to be ruled by external forces. You were never meant to be a puppet controlled by the expectations of others. You were created to think independently, to operate with wisdom, and to govern your own thoughts. But many people live as prisoners of the ideas and beliefs that have been forced upon them. They allow the media to dictate what success looks like. They allow culture to define their identity. They allow past experiences to shape their future. And as a result, they live beneath their potential, never fully walking in the greatness that was placed inside of them. You must break free from this pattern. You must reclaim ownership of your thoughts. You must make the decision that no one, no circumstance, no opinion, no past failure will have control over your mind. Because the moment you take responsibility for your thoughts, you take responsibility for your life. One of the most powerful things you can do is develop self-awareness. You must become conscious of the thoughts that are shaping your life. You must recognize the influences that are guiding your decisions. Too many people live on autopilot, allowing thoughts to enter their minds without questioning them. They accept limitations without challenging them. They internalize negative beliefs without rejecting them. They assume that the way they think is the way they must always think. But that is a lie. You have the power to reprogram your mind. You have the authority to reject any thought that does not align with truth. Just because a thought enters your mind does not mean you have to accept it. Just because someone says something about you does not mean you have to believe it. Just because fear tries to creep in does not mean you have to submit to it. You have the ability to take control. You have the ability to replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones. You have the ability to shift your mindset and transform your reality. And make no mistake, this is a battle. Your mind will not automatically work in your favor. You must train it. Every day, you will be confronted with thoughts that seek to weaken you. Doubt will try to tell you that you are not enough. Fear will try to convince you that you will fail. Distractions will try to pull you away from your purpose, but you must be disciplined. You must be intentional. You must decide that no thought will have power over you unless you give it permission. This is why renewing your mind is a daily practice. You cannot change your thinking once and expect lasting results. Just as you must feed your body every day to keep it strong, you must feed your mind daily with wisdom, truth, and purpose. You must be selective about what you expose yourself to. You must guard your mind from anything that weakens your confidence, distorts your vision, or limits your belief in what is possible. Think about the people who have made the greatest impact in history. They did not allow their minds to be controlled by their environment. They did not accept the limitations placed on them by society. They did not conform to what others thought was possible. Instead, they governed their own thoughts. They decided what to believe. They trained their minds to focus on their vision. And because they mastered their thinking, they mastered their destiny. What about you? Who has been in control of your mind? Have you been living according to truth, or have you been shaped by fear? Have you been making decisions based on faith, or have you been influenced by doubt? Have you been leading your thoughts, or have you allowed your thoughts to lead you? Because the moment you decide to take full control of your mind, everything in your life will begin to change. Your confidence will rise. Your vision will sharpen. Your actions will align with your purpose. And when that happens, there will be no limit to what you can achieve. Your mind is the foundation of your life. Every success, every breakthrough, every transformation begins in the way you think. If you allow fear, doubt, and negativity to govern your mind, your life will reflect those things. But if you take control, if you align your thoughts with truth, discipline your mind with wisdom, and reject anything that seeks to limit you, then your life will rise to match the greatness that is within you. Do not let circumstances dictate your mindset. Do not let the voices of others control your thoughts. Do not live as a prisoner of past failures or external expectations. You have the power to renew your mind. You have the authority to choose what you believe. And once you master your thinking, you will master your future. The world is waiting for you to step into your full potential. Your destiny is too great to be controlled by anything or anyone outside of you. So take ownership of your mind, walk in confidence, and live with purpose. Good luck on your journey, and may your mind always be your greatest asset. Thank you.